Good morning, everyone who is joining us today. So glad you can make it here for the student celebration. We're just going to give 5 minutes for all classes to connect to the link, depending on connectivity in their schools. While you are waiting, if you could get a sheet of paper out because you're going to be doing some thinking today and have some conversations today. Make sure you have a conversation partner, someone to chat about some things that we're going to be sharing today. And then teachers, there is a QR code to the post-challenge survey. It's an opportunity for you to give us some feedback about the experience. You can just scan that QR code and I'll be sharing it again at the end. And I'll repeat this welcome in a minute or so as classes join us. Welcome to everyone who's just joined. We're going to get started at 9:20. While you're waiting, if you could make sure that you have a conversation partner and a sheet of paper and a pencil to jot down some ideas. And then for teachers, there is a post survey for you to give us your thoughts and feedback on the challenge experience. You can scan that QR code. I'll be sharing that again at the end as well. And we're just going to get started in about 3 minutes. Welcome to everyone who's connected with us this morning. We're going to get started in 1 minute. Students, if you could make sure you have a sheet of paper and a pencil, and then a conversation partner, perhaps somebody that you didn't work with during the challenge, so you can get different perspectives and points of view for our discussions this morning. And teachers, there is a post survey. The QR code is right there. You can scan that now. It will also be available at the end. It's an opportunity for you to let us give us feedback, share your experience of what happened during the challenge as we think about how we can improve it for next year. All right. So students and teachers and everyone who's made it to the end of this challenge, congratulations. We are here to honor and celebrate you and your work for the Artificial Intelligence Challenge. You've done something that's not easy. We asked you to explore a complex problem, one that the whole world is struggling with right now, one where there is not easy answers, where there's tensions and perspectives, where the problem is constantly changing as AI continues to develop, and one where there might be more than one right answer to the question we've been exploring. How might AI enrich the lives and possibilities of every student in your school? You and your peers have had to learn about artificial intelligence, think deeply about it, while keeping three big ideas in mind. Deeply human. Fundamentally, we want AI to be good for humans. What don't we want to lose about being human as AI develops? We know we need to think critically about artificial intelligence, and we've asked you to do that. And we've really asked you to think about how might AI enhance learning? What are the possibilities there that can make learning better for everyone? So we really appreciate that you've been willing to take on this challenge and engage in this work. You've also learned a problem-solving method, leveraging integrative thinking and the pro model. And we've asked you to think about the mindsets needed to engage in hard work. This is not easy work. So we're here today to celebrate you, to honor you, and to think deeply about what you've accomplished in this challenge. We're going to begin with the land acknowledgement. We acknowledge that we are being hosted on distinct and diverse traditional territories of the First Nations and Métis where we live. And I think we are on lands that are governed by the dish with one spoon, Wampum Belt Covenant. The idea is that we all can peacefully live together in sharing this one dish, this land, and all that it provides, so long as we each are mindful of only taking what we need. We recognize the enduring presence of all First Nations, Métis, and the Inuit peoples. And I think we believe the land acknowledgement is a moment for learning. So I would like to share something with you that I learned as I've been doing this research and developing the AI challenge. In Canada, we do a lot of research in Canada about artificial intelligence. We support a lot of initiatives. Our government does that through our tax dollars. The government agency that does that is called CFAR. And one of the things that is important in this funding is that anybody who is funded by the government and working with AI understands Indigenous perspectives, issues around data sovereignty, what it means to honor the stories of Indigenous peoples as we gather data. And so anybody who's funded through CFAR actually has to take a course in Indigenous perspectives in AI. It's an opportunity to learn and ensure that we're respectful. It's also an opportunity for us to learn about the remarkable things happening in Indigenous communities, ways that they're thinking about AI projects that are developing with AI. And the really lovely thing is that course is available to anyone. It's free. You can go online and take the course. So Emily, our tech support, is going to share the link to that course in the WhatsApp chat. Maybe something your teachers or even you might want to explore. All right. So today we're honoring you, but it's also about finding the words to help you describe why what you did is important to you and your whole community. And with that, it's time to hear from our guest today. The way the session is going to work, once I introduce our guest, is I'm going to ask our guest a question. And she's going to share her thoughts about that question. And then we're going to turn it over to you and your conversation partner. And you're going to have an opportunity to discuss that same question and share your thoughts on that. So with that, I invite Laurel, our guest today, Laurel Gabe, to turn on her camera. We are thrilled to have Laurel with us today. Welcome, Laurel. Laurel is a student at university. In 2020, she graduated from the TDSB Bloor Collegiate Institute. And Laurel is also the winner of, in 2020, of iThink's RJS Scholarship for Integrative Thinking. So students who've participated in the challenge can apply for that scholarship. And so Laurel won that $16,000 scholarship. She's going to be graduating this year from electrical and computer engineering from the University of Toronto. She's done some really interesting internships at iThink. She does a lot of work for iThink. She's frequently a guest speaker for iThink, and she's done some support with the organization. And she has done internships at Natural Resources Canada, where I believe she has just started her summer position there as well. So, Laurel, we are thrilled to have you here today. Thank you so much for making time to support our students and celebrate their work in the challenge. So, Laurel, the first, I'm going to invite you to turn on your microphone. And the first question I'd like to ask you is, from your perspective, what is important for everyone to know and understand about artificial intelligence?
Yep. So, in my opinion, I think that it's important for everyone and not just those who work in a field involving artificial intelligence, but everyone to try and understand the impacts of it, how it works, and just the general use cases of it, as it influences pretty much nearly every aspect of our lives, and not just in searching things up or trying to create things, but different things that you wouldn't expect, like how we see education in the future or how we work in the future. And it's just growing every single day. So it's important to understand that it isn't all knowing and that it is created by people, and all the information that comes from it is pretty much just information relayed from unimaginable amounts of data points collected over time. So we need to approach it with an open mind and wonder, what does it actually mean to use AI, and how to distinguish between moments where AI might be helpful versus where your own mind and creativity might be helpful. And lastly, that those two components don't necessarily have to be separate, and that you can combine the technological and informative power of AI plus your own creativity to create something that's beneficial to everyone.
Thank you, Laurel. I really like that idea of combining AI with your own creativity. That's a very helpful answer. All right, students, it's your turn. Grab your sheet of paper, turn to your discussion partner. I'm going to give you 5 minutes. I'll turn off my camera while you're doing that. What do you think is important for everyone to know and understand about artificial intelligence? And then, teachers, I invite you to share any thoughts you have in the WhatsApp chat, things students want us to know or Laurel to know. 5 minutes. Enjoy your discussion. All right, we are back. I always feel bad when I interrupt discussions. Laurel, I'm going to invite you to turn your camera on again, and we are going to turn to our next question that we want you to think about this morning. Laurel, I'll ask you first. As we think about education and the possibilities of AI for learning, how do you think AI can enrich the lives and possibilities of all students? And what could the future be for education and learning in our students with AI?
Yes, so with how personalized AI can be, it can really cater to specific needs of students, which I think it means has the potential to make education more personalized and accessible, whether it's through asking generative AI to explain the general process of how to solve a specific type of problem or creating a simulation of a concept that might be really difficult to picture. I think it's interesting to also realize that it can also help students in a derivative way by first helping teachers or parents or guardians. Imagine, for example, using AI to ask, like, hey, if a student learns better visually, how can I create an example of this long division problem that can explain it to them better using pictures? And that not only frees up the teacher's time from having to spend a lot of time catering to one specific need, it in the end ends up helping an entire subset of students that might learn better visually. So I think it's also important to realize that students can kind of co-create with AI. So brainstorming ideas, real world problem solving, kind of coming up with prototypes and ideas for solutions. And in the future, just kind of going from just using AI to answer questions to actually actively creating things with AI and kind of combining what we mentioned before about your own creativity with the vast power of AI.
Laurel, can I ask you, are you using AI to support your own learning in university? And if so, how are you using it?
Yep, definitely. So there's a lot of different ways that myself and other students in my program use AI. So whether that's directly related to the content, so what I'll do, what a lot of people do is kind of use different topics in a course and kind of create a study plan with it. So what I did a lot for exams was kind of, hey, I have 20 different topics, 3 days to do it. How can I split this up? Things like that. So little things where you're kind of directly asking AI to solve the problem for you, but there's also that kind of future co-creation with AI. So what some of my friends did was create kind of an AI chatbot specifically catered to one course. So this AI chatbot would answer any questions that you'd have about the specific course. And this was actually their final year project. And what was really cool about it was, one, it was a private project. So you're not really just releasing your school's course materials to who knows where. And they actually ended up creating this as their capstone project, which is basically a final year engineering project. And what it ended up doing is now it helps the people who are taking that specific course, not only when they created it, but the people who take the course next year and the year after that. And it really just shows that you can go beyond just searching things up. You can really think about specific ways to help you and the community you're in and create based off that.
Oh my goodness, that's so exciting to have your own chatbot for a particular course and that the chatbot was created by students. Amazing. All right, students, now it's your turn to discuss with a partner and capture ideas in words and pictures. That's why your sheet of paper is there. How do you think AI can enrich the lives and possibilities of all students? And when you think of education or your lives, what could the future be? Again, we'll turn our cameras off. We'll give you 5 minutes and we'll come back in 5 minutes. All right, we are back. Once again, it's Heidi interrupting your conversations. I'm really excited about this particular question that you just discussed because I think you, as young people, shaping the role of AI in your lives, but also as people are going to shape the future of AI, I think it's amazing from what I've seen in some of the things you've shared with me already, how you're imagining the future. All right, Laurel, I'm going to invite you to turn your camera on again. And I think we've been thinking about this question a lot. AI is created by others. We interact with tools that different people have created. But I really want to come back to that idea that you mentioned of students as creators. And what does it mean that students are creating with AI and not just using AI tools created by others? What does that mean to you, Laurel?
Yep. So to me, it means that students are really taking the initiative to take the resources that they're given and go from, as we said, from user to creator, and that creating more than you consume is really important to real world problem solving and making significant changes in the world. And an example I have is students I've met that took the concept of asking AI to fix your resume or give you practice interview questions, and they took that concept and made an entire site with interview practice where you can live interview and the AI will critique your interviewing skills and the questions you answer and help you improve. So really going from just feeding into information to actually creating something completely new that helps you improve as a person and then also can go on to help other people improve as a person really shows me how many students are now creating with AI. And I've said this in a previous talk, but humans like you have existed without AI, but it's never existed without humans like you. So when students start building with AI, they start asking these deeper questions and how to actually solve new problems that they wouldn't have thought about before. And it's just really empowering to see that students kind of realize that they don't have to wait for someone to specifically ask you something or teach you a concept in order to really make a difference.
Oh, there's so many things there for us to think about, Laurel. I remember when you said that in another talk that humans can exist without AI, but AI can't exist without humans because humans produce all the data. That has stuck with me. And how amazing to actually create something to help you improve as a person in your interview skills. So is that like an AI agent that's like an animated person that you're interacting with in that tool they create, that interview tool?
Yep, exactly. So a combination of kind of you giving a video interview combined with someone that kind of looks like a person but isn't, but is just feeding you information that helps you improve.
Wow, that's a really, really helpful use of AI. So much for us to think about there. All right, students. I think Laurel's given you a lot to think about. From your perspective, thinking of that idea of students as creator, what does it mean to you that students are creating with AI and not just using AI tools that others have created? Again, we'll give you 5 minutes. Laurel and I will turn off our cameras and we'll be All right, we are back. Hope you had a wonderful discussion about being creative with artificial intelligence. I'm going to invite Laurel to turn on her camera again. Welcome back, Laurel. So, Laurel, this has been learning about AI, but it's also a real world problem that these students have been working on, one that school systems around the world are struggling trying to figure out. Why do you think what the students did in the AI challenge, real world problem solving, that journey that they've gone is important? To them, as humans, as individuals, having gone through this process, learning about AI, but also engaged in messy, complex problem solving, to their schools, they've done this on behalf of their schools. Not everybody in their school got to participate. They've got to do something that's going to be, for their school and to their larger community that their schools are sitting in, that they as young people are sitting in, and to the world. Students focusing on this problem. Why do you think that matters?
So, as we discussed before, with the use of AI comes a lot of worries about how it's being used and also the biases that are present within the information that it produces. So, using AI to help aid real-world problem solving about AI is really kind of helping them empower how to take control of how it impacts them in the future. So, instead of just kind of taking the rapid development of AI and seeing it as just like a passive technological advancement that you just kind of accept and take. The difference between this and students actually using it to make a real difference in the lives of themselves and their community is what I think is the most important. So, what this challenge kit did was kind of give this open-ended problem up front, and it's a fairly new problem to discuss too. It's not something where many or all students have a lot of experience dealing with. And so to be given a question that you kind of maybe know nothing about and kind of really taking that and using it to solve a real problem that is impacting you and your fellow students every day, um, I think that's why it's important because it really created a change not only within themselves, but their community.
Thank you, Laurel. Yeah, I heard a lot of things in your response there that it's a real problem. It's not just a made for school problem. It's something that everyone's struggling with. And I hear in your response the idea of, being role models, showing that by delving into this and thinking critically about it, there's a way to approach using and learning about AI that is valuable beyond just using it, and that can have an impact on their school and their community. Um, really nice. Okay, student, it's time for you to think about this question. You've gone through this real world problem solving journey, learning the pro model and problem solving skills, and you've really had an opportunity to dive into artificial intelligence in a way that maybe other people in your school community haven't had the opportunity to do. You've thought critically about it, you've thought about the impact on humans, you've learned about it. From your perspective and your point of view, why is what you have just gone through important? Why does the work that you did matter from your perspective? Again, we'll give you 5 minutes. Laurel and I will turn off our cameras and enjoy your discussion. All right, we are back. I'm really happy this morning that we've had an opportunity or provided you with an opportunity to reflect on the significance of going on, having the opportunity to work on a real problem, right, where the answers aren't known and where you yourselves are figuring out answers to the question we asked you to think about in this particular challenge. Laurel, I'd like you to invite you to turn your camera on again. And I have just a slightly different question for you. Students, all of you out there, whether you are in grade 6 or in grade 12, have an opportunity because you've completed an I Think challenge to apply for the RJS scholarship. It's to the University of Toronto, $16,000, $4,000 a year for 4 years. Laurel was a winner of the scholarship and went on to University of Toronto. Laurel, how has winning that scholarship impacted your life? Can you share a little bit about that?
Yep, so winning the RJS scholarship was really a turning point for me. I mean, it definitely helped with the financial aspect of my degree, but it was also a real validation of the work that I had put into real world problem solving. And also, just being introduced to the I Think community really fostered in reshaping how I think and approach the world, especially as someone who's a minority in their field, like as a woman of color in engineering. Um, it's really challenging, and the way that I think has shaped my thinking has really helped me, and just seeing students kind of solve problems that were rooted in real needs and real people, I think it's just, I don't know, just seeing students push beyond the classroom and think critically about what issues really impact our communities, and seeing them have to research and prototype and iterate, not for a grade, but because they wanted to make a difference. Um, it really showed me that, real world problem solving is important, and just kind of forming how I think. And I don't know. I think it just does a really good job with bringing these real world problem solutions to students that may have not thought about things beyond the classroom before. So not only the scholarship, but really just being involved with I Think altogether has really impacted my life.
Many different ways. You mentioned a couple of times in your answer that it affected how you think. Could you tell us one way that your thinking is different having gone through, real world problem solving?
Yep. So I think prior to having experience with real world problem solving, a lot of the ways I approached things was just thinking of solutions that had already existed or thinking of ways to combine them together. But what the real world problem solving journey does, and what students have probably done with every experience they've had with these challenge kits, is kind of thinking of new solutions that didn't exist before. And it really gave me the confidence to not just follow paths that I've seen before, but kind of go out of my way to create solutions. And, since my time with I Think, I've gone on to do so many different experiences, so many different internships, starting a fundraiser, many different things that I've done. And I really don't think I would have approached them in the same way if I didn't have this experience, kind of learning how to think and create something that didn't exist before.
That's so lovely to hear. And how amazing that you see yourself as an empowered problem solver with the skills and the confidence to, when you face a difficult problem, to embrace that and to move forward and to take risks and try new things. And I'm wondering if our students out there have had similar experiences and their shifts in their own thinking about problem solving themselves and their ability to take on hard and difficult problems and have a strategy and a way to work their way through them. All right, we are approaching the end of our celebration of students today. First of all, I really would like to thank all of the teachers and the school administrators and students. I hope you take an opportunity to thank them as well. We know it, I think, that this is a lot of work for your teachers, and it's not always easy work. You're learning about AI, but also a different way to approach learning. So I really want to thank the teachers who took on this challenge on your behalf. For students from the entire education community globally that is struggling to figure out what to do about artificial intelligence and learning, we're all involved in this work. This is a real problem that we're trying to figure out. You've participated in finding answers and solutions to that problem. So we really thank you for doing the work and for sharing your thinking. I want you to know that your work matters. Um, we take your ideas and we talk to our funders and we share what we learn from your thinking with people in government and people in the business community. This is how young people are thinking about this. This is what you need to pay attention to. So your voice really matters in this work. And finally, Laurel, I'm just going to invite you to turn your camera on today again. Laurel, I want to thank you for being here today. And I was inspired, and I know our students are inspired by your contributions. The big takeaway for me personally is that all of us can be creators with artificial intelligence, and there's ways to do that ethically and responsibly. And we can begin thinking about the problems that exist in the world and think about how we might use AI to work on the big problems or the small problems, right? The problems in our daily lives, like how can I use AI to make my interaction with my course content easier for me to learn, but without violating the privacy and the rights of the teachers who create the courses, right? Creating chatbots. I think you will have inspired a lot of students to go and start creating their own chatbots or looking for problems or thinking about ways to use AI. So I really thank you very much for your thoughtful answers to our questions and for being here with us today. And I wonder if you have any final words to our students.
Yep, thank you so much for having me, and thank you for taking the time to listen to my answers. And I just want to let the students know to continue creating, and they did a wonderful job with the challenge kit, and they should continue to be inspired to create and problem solve.
Thank you, Laurel. All right, students, you know about the scholarship and your teacher has that information. And even if you're grade 6, keep that in mind. Everyone who has completed the I Think challenge is going to get a certificate from I Think, and your teachers will access that for you. Teachers, don't forget about the post survey to give us feedback on your challenge experience. That's always so very helpful to us. And with that, we're going to send you on with your day. Thank you, Emily, in the background for providing wonderful tech support. Thank you for being here today. Thank you for doing the challenge and enjoy the rest of your day and as you head into the home stretch of the school year. Bye, everyone.